All right. Hey, thanks again for being out here. It's good to be with you guys. Hey, church on Friday. I'm loving it. Y'all look good. In case you've noticed, I do look a little different than normal. And I know y'all thinking it, so let's just talk about it. Let's just have it out. Let's just do it now. I had my playoff beard on for as long as the Niners were in the playoffs, and they famously, and I didn't hear you. I know who you are, and I know your voice. I've just learned how to tune it out, much like your wife has to sometimes. I got you, Danelle. I got you right now. Up, down, across. Go ahead. Hey, we're going to be for the next couple weeks in a series of talks called Love Hurts, and we're going to have a really great weekend. Again, like Pastor Jesse said, obviously not this next Sunday, but the Sunday after that, please. We want to make sure we're all thinking about praying about people that we can invite to that. It doesn't matter if you've loved in your family or if you've loved romantically. Like if you have had your heart attached to another person, eventually that will lead it to some hurt and disappointment. And when we have not learned how to properly address those hurts, those wounds, those disappointments, then we just keep our hearts in a condition that messes them up. And then it ends up going into a new connection or a new relationship or a new situation. And it doesn't have to be romantic. I mean, you could just get hurt in a home situation, and then you get working in a close environment, and all of a sudden you don't know how to watch out or keep yourself together in certain situations. And we want to help you and the people you love learn how to deal with the things that come along with that. And we're going to start that off a little bit tonight. If you have a Bible, I want to invite you to open it to John chapter 13. I want to read a couple things that Jesus said about the idea of love and what it means. And it's going to set the tone for the rest of what we'll talk about the next many weeks. As I was referring to, we famously, I was born and raised in the Bay Area, East Bay. And so I grew up, people always like, are you a Raiders fan? I'm like, nah, man. I grew up in the 80s, right? So the Niners were winning 4 Super Bowls. And the Raiders, man, they were just going to prison and stuff. So I'm like, well, my parents weren't really about that life. So we just kind of said, hey, y'all do that. And we're going to win trophies and Jerry Rice and Joe Montana. So that was my life. And and then people are like, the Rams, they, congrats. They won last week and, they beat my Niners and it is what it is. They're like, oh man, do you have a rivalry with them? I'm like, no, they left in 1995, been gone for 20 years. And now they want to come back and act like it's this big animosity. It's you ever had a friend leave in junior high and move wherever and then you hear from them 20 years later? Man, you ain't mad you don't want to fight them. You're just all right, well, have a good day. It's I ain't got no animosity towards y'all. Now the Dodgers, y'all know the love will never be there. The only thing I love about the Dodgers is watching them lose. That is an intense hate right there. But I don't hate the Rams. I'm not, whatever. But I had to shave my beard once they lost. The playoff beard kind of came down. But then when the guy was, the barber was kind of shaving it down, he got ready to mess with the mustache. And I've never rocked a mustache. And I was like, nah, leave it, man. Leave it, Let me see what Brenda thinks. You know what I'm saying? Valentine's Day is coming up, man. And here's what I know about Brenda. Brenda, since she was a young little girl, she loved Tapatio, and that man has a mustache on that bottle. And so I was like, look, man, I got a chance, you know what I'm saying? She probably gonna like this mess. So I got on FaceTime the other day. She hadn't seen it. It was the big reveal. I put my face up on FaceTime, man, and her little face smiled at it. I'm like, yeah, I got her, dude. I got her. Tapatio strikes again, y'all. Got it again. I want to take a couple weeks and I want to talk about relationships, love, and all that stuff. And the reason why is it's a central part of all our lives, okay? Relationships, it's what we're made for. We were created for relationship with God and other people, okay? That's why God made us. And so what I find, though, and I think that you'll resonate with this, is that a lot of it we don't know why, we hurt so bad or why it's so awesome and amazing when it's awesome and amazing. And the reason we as a church want to do this is because, of course, relationships matter. But also it's this, Jesus did not die for a building. Okay, he died for people. right? He died for people. He died for you and me and the people that aren't here that we want next Sunday, okay? He died for them. He gave his life for them. So we're going to do things at our city church that make sure that we help people discover the love of Jesus. That's what we will do as a church. Of course, I want you to know the Bible. That's why I do there and then in every single message. I'm big on the Bible. We can Greek and Hebrew all day long, and I love it. And that is the central piece of what we teach here. But why? Just so you can know more about the Bible? What? Do you know some of the biggest jerks I know a lot about the Bible? You ever met somebody who knows a lot about the Bible and they're the biggest jerk you've ever met? Let me tell you this right now. At our city church, we don't want no jerks that know a lot about the Bible. You know what I want? I want somebody that loves and knows Jesus and treats people the way he wants them to be treated, because that's the power of Jesus working through us as a community. I don't want you to be ignorant. I don't want you to never read your Bible. I don't want you to not know like who parted the Red Sea and stuff. Of course, I want you to know the Bible because it's powerful and I think it'll transform your life. But I'm not hunting like you to like be this theologian. I want you to be able to know Jesus through the Bible, through his experience, like through his presence, through the church, through life groups. And then I want you to be able to live that better because you are a part of our city church, okay? So we got to talk about some of the stuff that is in our world that doesn't really connect with what we think is best for you. What do I mean by that? I think that our culture, and you may or may not agree with this, but I think our culture has lost the understanding of what it means when it comes to like love the way that God, I think, intended it to be. I think that it's diluted. And part of it is, let's just take the word love, for instance, okay? Like the word love is diluted in our culture, right? Because all of the different things that we might say about it, like we love all kinds of things. Think about the things that you love. Like we love our favorite teams, right? We might love the Super Bowl. We love Valentine's Day. Some of you don't. Or Single Awareness Day, whatever you want to call it. I celebrated that for 32 years. I love my wife. I love my husband, right? We love that. I love this snack. I love cheesecake. I love In-N-Out Burger. Ain't nothing wrong with that. I love my coffee. Some people love their new tattoo. They love their pet. They love a dog. You love tacos. You love to drive in the carpool lane, even when you ain't got no one in your car. Some of y'all are just sinners, straight sinners, man. And I'm one of y'all. Y'all are way behind me. I'm not even going to ask you to raise your hand if you be in the carpool lane by yourself. Because I don't want to know how many of y'all out there are just going to hell, okay? Liars going to hell. I'm just kidding. You ain't going to hell. Not for that, you are not. You love America, right? You love eagles, bears that grab fish out the water, right? You love National Geographic and hot rods and fast cars, right? You love all this kind of stuff. You love food. You love an actor or an actress or a movie or a favorite band or a song. You love all that. Those are such a huge range of things that we say we love. No wonder we can't really grasp what we mean or what God's love means, because it's just so diluted into a bunch of things. There's like, I love God and his mercy and sacrifice, but I really love Chick-fil-A. So it's like, well, what does love mean then? How do we do this? I want to throw a few things out there just to kind of help you see what I want to uncover. Because I don't think that the culture's way, our society's way of defining love is working very well. I don't. I am not of the opinion that the way the world defines love is actually working for all of us as a people, as a humanity, as a society, and certainly not those of us that are people of faith. And if we don't understand what God's definition of love, relationships, and what they're supposed to be and act and function like are, well, then we're just going to be absolutely basked and seeped in the culture's definitions. And then all of a sudden you just start taking on like the way it is that they think and do and act and behave. And before you know it, you're like, I'm getting the same results my broken culture's getting because I don't know any other way to do it, because I never really learned what God intended love to actually function like. So for the next couple of weeks, we're going to take a couple of weeks, and we're going to talk about what that is. And so part of what I want to explain to you, and I looked this up this last week, we looked into this thing. Did you know that this was a survey done? The average time okay, that it takes for a couple who meets to sleep together? I don't know what you might guess, but how many dates that they go on before they are intimate together? The average in our nation is 3 dates. 3, okay? That might surprise you. Some of you are like, I didn't think it was 3. You know, like, I don't know. I don't know who you hang out with. Now, trip off this. Did you know that on vacation or a holiday, that it's 24 to like 48 hours? So like those 3 dates go down to like 1, right? Now, here's what's a trip, is a survey of adults asking them what is the acceptable amount of dates you should have before you sleep together, before you are intimate together, okay? This surveyed, and their number was 8 dates. Okay, so 8 dates. Here's what I just told you if you didn't keep track of this. I told you that our society has its own morals and ethics for decision making of something so important as sexual intimacy, right? Joining your body in such a deep, powerful, soul-to-soul way, right? That their morale, like their choice of when they think, it's time, is 8 dates. But you know what else I just told you? Is that same culture can't keep its own morals and break it on the 3rd date. You are listening to a culture who can't keep its own standards of what it says is right. I've not even told you what the Bible says. I'm just letting you know your own culture can't do what it says is best. So why are we listening to them? Why would you listen to people who can't even do what they say is like, this is better, 8 times, hang out, and then? Maybe part of the problem in what I think, this is what I think is, I think our culture and our society has a very low value of love and a very low value of sex in our culture. A low value of it, not a high value, but a very low value of it. Because if you value something, you think that it's worth a lot. How many of you, after 1 or 2 hangouts, would just give somebody diamonds? Diamonds. Like, hey, I'm gonna hook you up with some diamonds. Man, I know there's some married dudes in here. I know how long it took to get the 1 diamond. Saving all kinds of years, man, having jobs she didn't know about, stole stuff to sell it, you know. I'm just playing. Right, you don't give diamonds to someone after 3 dates, but guess what? We do it all the time. Because isn't your body, your soul, your heart worth more than diamonds? I would think this, whether anyone's told you this or not, you are worth more than diamonds. You are worth more than that. God gave his life for you. He loves you. Your soul was worth God of the universe dying for. That's how valuable and important you are. So we're you know, as a culture, we're out here handing out diamonds to people we hardly know, and then we wonder why we feel so broke inside, so devalued. You know, it's this exchange of something that should be valued and it's not yet, and then we know it, right? Like I'm not telling you something some of you haven't experienced. Like some of you know, you're like, dang man, that is why it feels that way. And I haven't read the Bible to you yet at all. I haven't told you God's love. I'm just keeping it 100 right now and just saying, hey, pay attention to that thing you feel inside and ask yourself an honest question. Why didn't that do it like I thought it would? It didn't make me feel better. I don't feel more connected. I actually feel empty. I feel devalued. And I don't like that. What is that? Pay attention to that. Because actually that's a good thing. That's a great thing. You know what that is? That's that sound of the smoke alarm in your house when there's actually smoke in the house. It's not bad. It's a good thing. It should be making a sound going, ah! Because you should go, uh-oh, there's something that might burn this house down and make it unlivable for me. Make it so broken, so jacked up that I won't know how to even live in this place I've spent so much time building, painting, preserving, decorating, working to have people over, and then I just let it burn quick. And these are the things that our culture don't really want to talk about honestly. They want to just like, don't tell me no and don't tell me I can't. Look, I'm not. I'm asking, I'm using the culture's own standards. You can't keep your own 8 dates. You yourself are breaking your own rule of what you think as a society, as a culture out there that would be better. So we need something else. We need something I think that's, I don't know, going to be long lasting, that's going to preserve us and secure us and allow us to have a chance. And none of us are going to do this great on our own. We require, I think, God's love, to know Jesus, to understand him. So what does love look like? What does it mean? What does it act like? What is it? How do we actually feel loved? How do we demonstrate love? I want to take, again, the next many weeks, but tonight I want to do this because I want to look into what Jesus said about it so that we don't let the culture dictate the terms. We don't let the culture define the terms. We don't stay in the water, just soaking in the water of what they are telling us it's defined as, that we go, whoa. No, I actually going to resist some of that. And I'm not going to be ugly about it, but I'm just going to go, I don't know. I actually think that doesn't do it. And I'm not going to align myself with that because I want to have a little more value. I don't want to hand out diamonds to someone I barely know. I don't want to give value. I don't want to give away something that ought to be precious, ought to be valuable. So Jesus knew this was going to be our world, okay? So Jesus said some things and he started the movement and he actually put some things in scripture so we would know, well, what does love look like? And what does it act like? And how do I know when I'm looking at God's version of love? So he made it super clear to his listeners, his followers, his disciples. He wanted you to know what the definition of love is from the God of the universe. He made it so uber clear. There is no uncertainty in what I'm about to read you. The things Jesus says so clearly, so unequivocally, to the point, on the nose. Well, there it is. He's talking to his disciples. And it's just before Passover. Everybody say there and then. If you're new around here, every week we preach from the perspective that from my whole preaching life have called there and then. What does it mean? It means this. I want you to know what was happening in the story of the Bible there and then. Before we talk about the here and now, I don't want to tell you what the Bible says and tell you what to do in the here and now if you don't even understand what it meant there and then. Why? Because if you don't understand the world of the Bible, then the words of the Bible will never make sense to you. And I believe the word of the Bible, the word of God, has power if you understand it. But if I start reading a bunch of stuff that's in a language you don't grasp, you'd be like, you sound very excited about that. But it ain't got nothing for me, buddy. Right? I had a joke that I'm so glad I didn't tell just now. Anyways, force yourself through it. So there and then, here's what Jesus is doing. Jesus is sitting down right before the Passover, which is a Jewish festival. It's very famous. They still celebrate it today. And Jesus has just washed his disciples' feet. He has predicted that there is going to be a betrayal from one of them, okay? And they're all like, and here's what's crazy. None of them knew who it was. So they're all going to be surprised. And at this discussion, Jesus leans in and he tells them this phrase. He says, listen, John 13, verse 34, he says, a new command I give you. Okay, here we go. It's going to be a new command. So Jesus had come on the scene and Jesus had stood up against religious leaders, people who were using their religious rules and understanding of God to keep people out, to shut people down, to make people feel bad that God was mad at them all the time. Jesus comes and whoa. No. That's not the way it is. God is a God of love. And I want to redeem people. I want to restore people. I want to bring them close to the Father, not keep them away because they don't check these boxes. No, that's religion. Religion wants to control people and put them into in, out, yes, no, close, out, right? And then those of us that are in this group, we get to not like that group, and that group gets to look at us and not like each other. And then we go tell the world, isn't God amazing? You should follow him like we are. And we wonder why the world don't want God. Because the way we represent it looks so crazy. It looks like a dysfunctional family. Hey, marry into my family. What? Y'all crazy. Y'all try to kill each other, for real. You know what I'm saying? That's like Appalachian Mountain, family stuff. You don't want to go in there. That's a funny joke. You didn't appreciate it. It's fine. I'm going to just keep moving. I shouldn't say everything I think. That I know. A new command I give you. All right. What's the new command? And he says this. Love one another. That's it, Jesus? Ta-da! That's the big reveal. The big reveal is to love one another. Hey, thanks, Jesus, God, Messiah. We waited for thousands of years for the seed of Abraham to get that? Man, this is whack. I left my job, my dad, my family. I threw the nets in the water, said, Dad, out, going with Jesus, peace out, see you in 3 years, so that we could get to this brilliant revelation. And your brilliant revelation is you need to love people. That ain't special. All the religions said that somehow, some way, love God. So Jesus, what's so new about that? That, ready? That ain't new. But we know Jesus can't be saying something's new if it's not new. He don't lie. He is the truth. So something is up. He's doing something. He's saying something. He wants to lead them somewhere. And he continues on. He says, a new command I give you, love one another. And here's the new part. As I have loved you. That's how you must love one another. Okay, now he had their attention. Wait, what? I want you to love other people the way I love you. Wait, Jesus, you mean I don't get to keep people out? I don't get to shun people that make me feel a certain kind of way. I don't get to have this thing in my heart that kind of borders on hate. Maybe it ain't all the way hate, but it's I wouldn't mind if and it's this thing that gets in there, right? It's in me, it's in you. And he's like, I want you to love one another. And I want you to treat people the way I've treated. How did Jesus treat the woman caught in adultery? Did he grab the rock like the rest of the Pharisees? You deserve judgment. Nope. Hey, where are all the accusers? There's none of them left. Neither do I condemn you. Wait, you want us to do that to the people that do all the bad and all the things I disagree? You want me to have a disposition? What did he do to the cheating, greedy tax collector? Hey, Zacchaeus, today, I'm coming to dinner at your house in front of everybody who's like, you going to whose house? I hope you get some of the money back he took from me, Jesus. When you go to the bathroom, look at them candlesticks and you best come out with a few of them and hook it up. So Zacchaeus done overtaxed me. But Jesus is like, hey, love each other the way I have loved you. When you got out of line, when you acted a fool, when you took your eyes off me, Peter, John, James, when y'all did this, Simon, when you miss it, Bartholomew, when you miss it, when you, Andrew, when you did, how have I loved you? That's how I want you to love other people. And then he says this, love them as I've loved you. And he says, so you must love one another. What did Jesus say this for? Well, he knew this. He knew that human nature would act a certain kind of way to people that didn't line up with them, agree with them, people they didn't like. And he knew if my movement's gonna get out of Jerusalem, if it's gonna get out of this area they're gonna kill me in, y'all can't act like the rest of the world. You can't treat people that you don't line up with the way the rest of the world does it. Or this thing ain't going no dang where. It ain't leaving Jerusalem. I don't care. They'll whip me for nothing. They'll beat me, whip my backside open, stretch my shoulders out of socket. They will torture me, beat me for absolutely nothing. If you just go love people the way the rest of the world loves them, you got to go love them the way I loved you. And if you do that, it will make the world go, now what's that? Wait, what's that? What do you do? Why? How could you possibly forgive him, forgive her, love her? How could you express? And what he's inviting us to learn is you don't have to have it in your heart to do. What you have to do is have a willingness to say, I don't have this in my heart to do, but I know this, I will submit and surrender to your power and your lordship in my life. I will not do what I want to do because you're the Lord. You're God. And why do we know that that's something Jesus did? Well, because in the Garden of Gethsemane, he says to the Father, can you take this cup from me? Because I don't really want to go to this cross. But nevertheless, not what I would like to do, not what I want, not what works for me, not what is in my plan, not what I feel, but what your plan in my heart and life is. So I will surrender and bow my knee to that and make that the God of my life. He says, when you do that and you love unlovable people, unlovable things, unlovable items, all that stuff, he says, that right there, when you invite not your love, but my love as I have loved you, remember that. How has he loved you? Well, he's loved you knowing everything wrong with you. And when you really are keenly aware, tuned into that, it's really hard to be arrogant and prideful towards someone else's mistakes when you're keenly looking and obviously aware of yours. Then it's like, well, where do I get off thinking like this person's so terrible when, God's put up with a lot with me. And see, this is the reason why he wants us to come to him. And this is part of the reason why he's like, I want you to come to me. And then he says this, right after that, he says this, he goes, by this, ready? What? This is powerful. By this, everyone will know. Everyone will know by this right here. This right here, what I'm asking you to do, everyone will know. Every religion, every person, people who do, people who don't, people not interested in faith, not interested in faith, people who believe, don't believe. Here is how they will know I am real, I'm alive, I did what I said, I am who I said, I'm the real thing. Then they will know you're following me, Jesus. They will know that you are actually about this life when you do that. By this, everyone will know that you are my disciples. Ooh, what a heavy word. It's easy to believe in Jesus. That ain't hard. Who don't want to believe in a God that loves, forgives, and just dumps his heart of grace and mercy and all the bad in us? Man, that's easy. That's the easy part of faith. There ain't nothing hard about that. You mean God loves me once? Yeah, man, I love that part of God. Being a believer is really a lot easier than what Jesus is saying to these dudes. In this space, he's saying, if you're going to turn the world upside down after they kill me, and after I go back to the Father in heaven, if you're going to get this thing out of Jerusalem, you got to love people the way I loved you. It's got to be so different when they watch you love. It's got to be different when they watch you forgive. It's got to be different when they watch you be married. It's got to be different when they watch you deal with your adult kids. It's got to be different when they watch you deal with your coworkers. It's got to be different when you deal with a supervisor that's rude and runs an unhealthy ship and just the way it is. It's just like, it's got to be different when you listen to somebody's politics. It's got to be different when you're dealing with somebody who don't line up. It's got to be different when she did, she said, and when you're dealing with your ex and it's his weekend for the kids and all this. It's got to be different when you do this. And if you do this, they will all know not just that you believe in me, but that you are my disciples. That you have fashioned your decision making not after what culture has said, not after what feels easy to do, not after what she got coming to her, not after, man, skip that. I ain't gonna let nobody do this to me, man, bump that. No. He says, no, not after that, but they will know you are my disciples. That you saying no to you and yes to me by the way that you love one another. It will stand out to a world that has no good concept of love. And it has the power to change the world. A couple moments later in John 15, 2 chapters later, he makes it real clear. And now he gets real, like to the finer point of his story. John 15, verse 13, he says this. Listen, guys, greater love. There is no greater love than this. Someone lays down their life for one's friends. Now, Jesus is obviously referring to himself, and he's talking about the fact he's going to lay down his life for his friends. You know what that means? Then when he says that God so loved the world that he gave his only son, right? He loved the world. You know what that means? That Jesus in the book of John has attached the world to his friends. For God, follow it. For God so loved just his disciples, just those people who already believed in him? No. For God so loved the world, the whole cosmos, everyone. God so loved them that he gave his life, okay? A couple chapters later into the story of Jesus, John records that Jesus says this: there is no greater love than he who would lay down his life for his friends. How do I want you to love others? Consider anyone in this world your friend, somebody deserving of dignity and love, not from you, but from Jesus through you. And say, I need you to do that in me. I don't love people like that. I have a different criteria for who I'm going to give that kind of like care and prayer and thought to. But can you just try this on for a second? I know some of you guys are kind of resisting this. I get that. I understand that. But just try it on for a second and just answer this question. Can you imagine let's do this. Can you imagine what it would be like just in the state of California if everybody did what Jesus said? What would every disagreement sound like? What would every argument at work sound like? Every argument in your house sound like? What would our kids grow up learning to do if they watched our adults do what Jesus said? Okay, let's go beyond that. What if everyone in our nation did that? What if we just did what Jesus said and said this: hey, I want you to look at people in the world the way I do, worthy of the love of Jesus, that he laid down his life for who he called his friends. And even if you don't want to be friends with them, he is inviting you to learn how to let him change your heart and have a different view on that. Oh, that goes so against us, doesn't it? It's like, wait, you mean I don't get to hate people? Yeah, no, that's not really the Jesus thing, actually. Doesn't line up with him. No, you don't. You don't have to agree. You don't have to march in line. You don't have to be a minion and have no brain and no critical thinking skills. You don't have to hand over all your rights. And this is where people in America, they lose their mind. Nobody's asking you to give that up. You know what you have to give up though? Your right to be right. And your right to be smug. And your right to be ugly in your heart. And your right to think that the way you think about them is how Jesus thinks about them, because you're wrong and he doesn't line up with you. So you need to come to this place where you go, I don't like these people. I don't like these people. But your scripture, now listen, if you're not a Christian, I'm not talking to you right now. I just want to be clear about this. If you're here, somebody invited you and you're just checking, you're trying to get back in the church, kind of figure out what you think about God and the Bible and all that, man, this part is not for you, okay? The other stuff is for you, but this part, not for you. Why? Because this is for people who say they're a disciple of Jesus. Okay, only disciples of Jesus have to do this stuff. So if you don't really want to be a disciple of Jesus, you don't have to do any of this stuff. You can stop listening to everything I'm saying right now and go, whew, that sounds like it sucks. Because it does. This is not tight. This ain't cool. This ain't like, yeah, Friday night. This is the worst Friday night you guys have had in a long time. Me reminding you that you have to die like Jesus. Love the unlovable, man. But he says that the whole world will find out about him. Can I remind you that once upon a time you were part of that world? If you're a disciple, you used to be the one that didn't believe. And somebody was able to express care, love to you, regardless of what you had done, what they knew about you. And God didn't permit it from happening. He allowed you to be loved. He allowed you to express his kindness, his goodness. Somebody acted like a disciple of Jesus, laid down their pride and allowed you to matter. The world says, take whatever that I can get. Doesn't matter. I just do it when I want to. Nobody tell me right or wrong. But Jesus comes in and God designs this idea of love and is like, no. There is a value to it. There's a value of my life. And I want to invite you. You should lay down. What does it mean then for us to lay down our life? Does it mean we have to go die, physically die? No, I don't think that that's what he's getting at. I think what it means is we have to lay down our pride and we have to lay down the right to be right. right? Like, oh, I have a right, I want to be right. It's like, oh, and dude, you guys know this. I think I admitted this pretty well a couple weeks ago, but none of you are worse at this than me. Okay, I love to be right. And, I get a lot of practice at it because, well, I'm right a lot. I mean, I couldn't help. I'm sorry. I'm going to hell. No, look, once I think it through and I figure out I'm right, I'm inconsolable. And all the people that love and know me know that. They know the moment I figure out that I'm right, they're like, oh, crap. Because I'm so prideful about it. It's like, you'd think if you got to be right, you could actually just pull off humility, but not me. Once I'm right, I'm like, oh, yeah. Woo! Let's throw a party. I got banners that come down. Chris is right. Fireworks. You don't see any of that. It's just going off inside my heart. I get a little pep in my voice when I'm talking about the facts of the details. Yeah, actually, well, no. Actually, this, you might actually see right there in your text message where you said that. Yeah, remember how I just said that you said that and you said you didn't? That's right there. Go ahead and take that. Oh, the screensaver went on. I'm sorry. Here, no, I'll put in the code. Don't you? There you go. Thanks. And Jesus looks in my heart and he looks at probably not that many of you like me, but any one of you out there in the world that's like that, he looks inside our heart and he goes, that's not the way I love you. I don't do that to you when you're wrong. I don't do that when I'm right about you. I don't rub it in. I don't peacock around. I don't do that. I don't withhold it. I don't act like it's not true, but I don't rub it in. I'm not ugly to you. And I'm like, Lord, I need you to do a work in me. I need you to fix that. I come before you. I ask you to help me with that. When we sing songs and we're doing worship, I'm like, Lord, here's my heart. When I take communion, those are the things I'm looking inside and going, God, that's ugly. I don't want that. I don't want to have that. I want you to fix and heal that. And yeah, it's like, man, I don't know if I've asked him to do that a lot. And I don't probably think I've gotten a heck of a lot better, but I stay at it. And I think that we should. And he invites us to continually pursue following him. So how do we just figure out, how do we make this perspective a little more a part of our life? I think there's a few practical ways that we can serve each other, even just this weekend, okay? There's going to be a lot of broken and complicated relationships in all of our lives, okay? And healing those relationships, there's no one size fits all. So I couldn't get up here right now and be like, here's what you must do. It's like, man, there's a lot, okay? Relationships that break and are really wounded and hurting require a lot of effort and work, and it's not a one-time thing. However, I do think that we can approach any of the things that require the love of Jesus and exercise some of how he treated the disciples. So I'm gonna give you a few examples of what I mean. Jesus, for instance, washed the disciples' feet when he was the honored guest. Okay, so what would that look like for you? What would it look like for you to go, wait, I feel like I'm dope and like what I've done is deserving and like whatever, but for you to go, well, let me do what Jesus did. How can I serve the people under my care? How can I serve them? What can I do that I don't want to do? I don't even know if I feel like it's my super big responsibility, even culturally speaking. Jesus wasn't supposed to be the one doing it, and yet he did. That's humility. Where can you be humble? Where can you exercise an action of humility? Because let me help you understand humility. It's very hard to feel it. So you have to do something humble. And then you go, oh, this feels humble. Why? Because it sucks. It's not easy. If you feel like, ooh, I'm being humble. No, you're not. You're probably not being very humble. You're probably doing something for yourself and then just like including their other person's stuff and being like, oh, I'm being so helpful. No, you're not. You're not. You would have paid for that dinner for yourself. They just happen to be there. That's not paying for their meal. Don't give yourself too much credit. It's like, man, I guess you were washing clothes anyways. Like you didn't wash no one's clothes, okay? No, go take their car and go put gas in it. That's being humble. Like, I don't want to do that. I have stuff to do. It's like, well, yeah, but I happen to know that they might have been empty on gas. Do their chores for a week. If you can, maybe, or a few days, or offer them a couple of days. Like, you know what, let's flip these. I'm going to do this, you do that, or just do them. Find a way to encourage something specific about them that you don't normally notice or say. I think we'd all agree that it's easy for us to see the things that they don't do right, the people we love, right? I don't think I'm the only one in that. What if you just made the determination that before the end of Sunday, right, that you just said something, hey, this was really cool. I watched you do that, and I just want to specifically praise that thing you did. And you don't just be like, you're so nice. No, make it specific of what they specifically did. And go, I just want to say, I noticed this, and I really thought that was really cool. I thought that was really sweet or special or strong or courageous or humble or sacrificial. Or, man, you made it about them. Or I thought it was really cool how you took time for our daughter or you took time for our son. I know you would have rather had this or that, but I just thought it was cool the way you just served. What did you do? You loved me or them or this or that the way Jesus loved you. You put yourself second and you put them first and you honored and you did it. And you didn't do it looking like, a martyr. You weren't walking through the house like making sure everybody heard what you were doing. You just did it. You just did it. Like we said in communion, we want Jesus to do the work inside of us to expose these things in us. This is actually good to hear and to know about this. So practically speaking, that's a couple easy things that you can do. Now, as a church, what can we do? Here's what I want to ask you to do. We didn't just move church to Friday night just, for no reason. A major reason is because we have a team of people that work really hard to make church happen on Sundays at Centennial. And I think that there's a couple events a year that everyone deserves to be able to relax and chill. And I think the Super Bowl is one of it for a grand majority of the men in our church, okay? It doesn't mean that women don't love the Super Bowl. I'm not even going to get into it. If you can't understand my heart on that, then, we're probably not the church for you. I'm going to say a lot worse stuff than that. That will offend you, I promise. And so, look, part of this was, let's give our volunteers like a chance, you know what I'm saying? And let's give their families a chance. And all of our men and women that put on our church every Sunday, we just didn't want them to get there at the 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock hour. They all get there. They all set the whole thing up, right? They show up, they're in meetings. They are thinking about how to improve stuff week to week. They're meeting with their volunteers. They're getting it dialed for you. They're going over music, songs, doing rehearsal, all that stuff. And then we got to tear it all down after you guys get in your cars and go home. Okay, and then everyone's tearing it down and everyone's breaking it down and packing it up. And then it's about 2 o'clock and, kickoff's in an hour and a half on the Super Bowl. It's like, man, you're going home winded, tired, and I'm like, wait, you might have people coming over from the neighborhood. I want you to be at your best. Why? Because I actually think the Super Bowl is an easy hang to invite someone to church. Easy, if the church thinks ahead and if we partner together. So that's why we did it. In part, we want to give our team a rest. But I don't want you just to take a rest and say nothing and do nothing to help people come to know who Jesus is. I want you to get someone into the voice of Jesus. I want them to be able to hear. Just like we talked about with Lazarus at our birthday. We talked about how Jesus said, move the stone out the way. Why? So the man who is dead can hear my voice say, Lazarus, come out. And what we as a church are supposed to be doing is we're supposed to get into our communities, be with our friends, and then move stones out the way. Well, how do we move stones out the way? We just invite them to church. We get the thing out the way from them to be able to hear the voice of Jesus speaking to them and go, all right, look, I can't raise the dead. I can't heal, people's hearts and minds. I can't forgive sins. But you know what I can do? I can get the stone out the way so that they can hear Jesus. That I can do. So practically speaking, what I want to ask you to do is this. I want to ask you to take... we got cards on the way out when you go out. There's going to be 2 of them. 2 different cards. One, this is the invite. And this is just going to say, love hurts. It's going to describe what the video is going to talk about. It's going to describe what the whole thing's about. It says, join us as we learn how to heal those hurts and keep them from happening again. If you've loved, you've been hurt, right? We just want people to be like, man, yeah, how do I do that? It's going to say when it is, where it is. I want you to pick up a couple of these things and I want you to pass them out to people. And do it at the Super Bowl or do it the next week after that. But I want us to be praying and thinking about that. And that's where this second card comes in handy. You guys know we're doing a building campaign for the next 2 years because as you can experience tonight, it's nice to have your own place. Okay, it's just different than I'm grateful for, and I'll always be grateful for what God did to get us in a Centennial. But man, as soon as we can find a place to buy, shoot, at this point, I'm like, man, I'll take a place 7 days instead of 7 hours, okay? Like, just give me a lease. So we're hunting all kinds of stuff and all the rest. But listen, our city, our turn, it's our turn to run our race, right? And we want to take the baton and run our race. So this says, our city, our turn. And on the back, it just says this. It says, I am praying for and inviting, and there's just a space there. And I want you to write someone's name in that space. I am praying for them and I'm inviting them. And I want you to invite them to the 20th, which is not obviously Super Bowl Sunday, but the Sunday after that. And I want you to invite them. And I want you to put that card at your mirror next to the soap dispenser in your bathroom or next to your tooth or whatever. Put it somewhere you can say, or put a magnet on it, put it on your fridge, unless they're coming over, because that's weird. They would be like, what? Why is my name on your fridge? Oh no, what are you talking about? Here, drink that. But if you're new around here, here's what you can know. I'm never trying to manipulate you, okay? So I don't like play the soft music and I'm now trying to get you to give in the offering or like feel bad and like pray and cry or whatever. Like I want you to pray and I want you to cry when God moves on your heart. But I'm gonna mess around and make jokes so that you never think like I'm trying to like finagle you. I ain't about that business, okay? I don't need to finagle you. If God is really a part of our church and he's moving, he'll move on your heart. I don't need to help him. He don't need my help. In fact, he probably needs a lot less of what I'm doing so he can get his work done in our church. But I want you to take this and put it somewhere and just put someone's name on that and say, okay, well, who's a couple? Who's my kid plays on a team or whatever it all is, and just say, we're praying for them. We're going to invite them. I work with them, or our kids play together, or they live down the street, and see if you can invite them, or maybe stop by or be like, hey man, where you guys watch Super Bowl? Oh, I'm going to come down and say hi. And then, go down at halftime or whatever you want to do. But find a way this week to pray and to put this card somewhere and say, I'm going to invite them to come to an environment where Jesus will move the stone out the way. And whatever's dead in them can come to life, because you help them get into an experience, into an environment, into the presence of the voice of Jesus. I'm gonna invite you to bow your heads and close your eyes. And I want you to think of whoever that person is. And I wanna pray for him right now. But first I wanna ask you to really consider the ideas of God's love and humility and how can we ask Jesus, would you help me this week to love others the way you love them? I need you to do that through me. And I'm willing to open my heart. I'm willing to bow my knee before that. And if my mind goes down a rabbit hole of just all the reasons why I shouldn't have to do that, God, would you stop that? Because quite frankly, if you were the person that was thousands of years ago, one of the 12 disciples and the 11 that stuck it out, ask yourself this question. If I went and loved people the way I'm loving them right now, would I have helped Jesus's word spread to the world, or would I have helped keep it trapped in the city of Jerusalem that day? Because we want to be people that say, I would have helped it get out. I would have loved different. I would have loved people different than me. I wouldn't have loved the way the Roman Empire did it. I wouldn't have loved the way the rest of the people were trained to do. I wouldn't have loved the way all the religions do. I wouldn't have loved the way the society did it. I would have said, Jesus, I'm gonna love others the way you loved me, and you laid your life down for me. So I will lay down my pride. I will lay down my points. I will lay down all the stuff and say, no, I don't want to be like the world. Their love doesn't get it. Their love doesn't do it. Their love doesn't know what to do. Their love, they can't even follow their own love rules. So God, fill me with something better than that and show me how to be like you, because you were like that to me once upon a time. Father in heaven, I pray over our church that we would encounter you right now, that we would feel your love coursing through our heart, filling us with your voice, your love, the challenge to open up to you more and to let you heal, to rebuke and remove obstacles to you and to more of you in our lives. We as a church want to reflect you to the people that meet us and know us, so that they will come here. And I ask you would do that, God, in this moment. And now, God, I as a pastor just want to turn our attention to the people that we should invite. And I want you right now, as I'm praying for that, I want you to get that person in your heart, in your mind, that you're gonna pray for and that you're gonna ask to come, and that you might have to go pick up, or you might have to arrange for breakfast or for lunch after, or, you don't have to work it out. But that this is the person you're gonna pray for and that you're gonna invite. And I want us to pray. I want you to pray for them as I say this prayer. I want you to pray over their life. Father, we bring this person that's in our heart before you. And you know their life. You know what has not gone right. You know what hasn't gone right that wasn't fair to them. And you also know what's not gone right that they've contributed to it and made it a mess. And God, whatever all that is, we ask right now that you would use us to remove the obstacle out of the way of them hearing from you, of your plan of restoration, of your plan of redemption, of your plan of forgiveness, your plan to express to them the value they actually have, that they would come to know not the world's way of love, but your definition of it, so that God, they could heal and they could be preserved for the things you have for their life. I don't know their name, but I pray as a church next Sunday, God, when we get back together, that we would see lives hearing from you in a new way. And I ask you, God, to do that over us in the mighty name of Jesus. We're gonna wrap up in a quick song that we've sung already. They're gonna just start singing it behind us. I'm gonna invite you to stand up to your feet. The words just say, I'm gonna build my life upon your love, because it's a firm foundation, right? My love is not a firm foundation. I can't give my love to the people around me and expect it to have any power. But if I build my life and I love as he's loved me, then I won't be shaken, they won't be shaken. So let's make that our anthem for this next week. God, I will build my life on your love, how you love me. That's the trust. You alone could do that. Come on, let's sing it. I will build my life upon your love. Come on, sing it, church. A firm foundation. I will put my trust in you alone, Jesus. And this is what will happen. I will not be shaken. I will build my life. Come on, sing it, church. Upon your love. It's a firm foundation. I put my whole trust in you. Yeah. Do your work, Jesus. Do your work in us. Do your work in your church. Make us more like you. Holy, holy. There is no one like you. There is none beside. This is why we worship you, God. God, that is our prayer tonight. That is our prayer tonight. Do you believe that tonight, church? God, I pray a blessing over our city church. God, would you send us to the places you need to send us? Send us to the people that need you. May we be people that move stones out the way so they can hear your voice. God, it is our city. It is our turn. And I pray we will go to this city and love them as you have loved us tonight and you've loved us in your life. God, I bless this church to that end in the mighty name of Jesus to do it. If you believe that, will you say amen tonight? Come on, let's give God some love for what he did in the church tonight and what he did in our hearts. Woo! Man. All right, church. I don't know who you bringing, but I cannot wait for next Sunday, okay? Enjoy Super Bowl Sunday. May God use you out there. Have some fun tonight. You all ain't got to run out of here real quick. Just be good to each other. You know you ain't got work tomorrow, most of y'all anyways. You got to act like you got somewhere to go. But hey, love you guys. See you next week. Have a great rest of your weekend. Let's go change the world together. Love y'all. Bye.